again. Welcome to another edition of the European Soccer Show. I hope you got your tickets to the gun show because these guys are back at the flex. So we got Leo as ever. Hello, Leo.
Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Apparently not as good as you, though, you with your exclusive reports that you're publishing. Oh, that's exciting. Make sure you watch Leo's, keep track on Leo for his social media stuff because some very interesting content is coming out in both English and French, I believe.
I do work in English to try to share French football to English people.
It's very helpful for all of us linguistic people. Barely linguistic people. Anyway, speaking of which, all of us want to know what's been happening across Europe. Well, it's going to be a bit of a strange show because there's quite a combination of cup games and league games and all different kind of orders. So we'll cross it as we come to. So we are going to start, as we always do, in jolly old England. I say jolly, not so jolly these days, although it is getting brighter. Because the really interesting stuff happened actually midweek. So, a lot has happened since our last recording. We recorded last Tuesday, and on that very eve, some interesting thing happened. Apart from anything else, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Liverpool 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers winning their second league match in a week, which is the same as Spurs have managed all season at home, which is an astonishing turnaround, really. And Leo has frozen in the most hilarious form. Leo, are you available to talk? And do you want to talk about Wolverhampton beating Liverpool 2-1? Wolves are finding form.
Yeah, finally. Maybe too late for to stay up, but we have to say that they have been impressive because beating Liverpool isn't easy. Of course, Liverpool they completely dominated during this game, but finally, Wolves found the resources to fight back, and what an end to the game.
Really damaging for Liverpool as well. Spoiler alert, because the battle for the Champions League places, those 4 teams fighting for 3 spots between Man United, Aston Villa, Chelsea and Liverpool, those 4 teams now only separated by 3 points because the next evening, Chelsea won. And also Manchester United lost. But we'll get to that later. That's a fun story. But yeah, so very damaging for Liverpool to lose this game, particularly against the side at the bottom. This is one they would probably be banking on those 3 points.
Yeah, of course. And if they had win this game, they could have climbed to the 4th spot in the table with Manchester United and Aston Villa's losses. So it's a real blow for Liverpool ahead of the final sprint.
It does feel like Arne Slot is kind of I don't want to say at the point of no return, but it does feel like we're coming to the point of the season where there hasn't been a string of strong performances from Liverpool in quite a while, and considering they're going into the Champions League this week and next week, they are now fighting for next year's qualification for Champions League. It kind of feels like this is the end game for Arne Slot in particular.
Yeah, of course. Even Virgil van Dijk said it a few days ago that they absolutely must qualify for the Champions League because it would be kind of a disaster for a team that spent a lot of money last summer, who recruited a lot of good players. So, of course, if they are not to qualify in the Champions League, there will be consequences to that.
Well, speaking of which, on Wednesday, quite a result at Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 4. A fantastic, I think, a hat-trick for João Pedro, who seems to be coming into form right at the right moment. And famously, he played quite well against Paris Saint-Germain as Chelsea gear up to face the European champions in midweek. Yeah, so Chelsea, again, sort of not quite hitting top form under Liam Rosenior, but they are showing signs. They are slowly, sort of gaining momentum, gaining good performances. They stutter every now and again, but then they pull out something like this, which is genuinely impressive.
Yeah, they showed a real sign of strength during this game at Villa Park, especially given the fact that they were trailing after only 2 minutes. As you mentioned, João Pedro scored a hat trick, and with this win, it's easy, and the way they played, it's easy to see why they are the second best away team in the Premier League right now, because they have been impressive away from Stamford Bridge. Against Villa, they were dominant and clinical. So it's a well-deserved win, and the best way to prepare for PSG's game tomorrow.
Yeah, and actually, a word for the teams at the top. So Arsenal actually extended their lead back to 7 points because Arsenal managed to squeeze a 1-0 victory at Brighton with a miserable victory. The only goal coming from a deflected Saka effort. But Arsenal getting a lot of criticism recently, particularly from after this game against Brighton, because, well, they just didn't seem to want to put the ball into play. They seem to just take so long over every single throw-in, every single goal kick. It does feel like they have to win the title at this point, because otherwise, not only will they have lost fans, sort of from the neutral fans because it's not entertaining football, but their own fans, because the only reason you can get away with playing this football is if you win.
Yeah, of course. But we talk about Arsenal because it's maybe the most, because first they are the leaders in the Premier League, and it's the most illustrated example of that. But we've talked about it last week about Arne Slot's comment on the quality of play in the Premier League with throw-ins, corners, free kicks. Of course, Arsenal, they have win this game against Brighton 1-0 on a. It was, I can't say it was difficult because Brighton didn't. Arsenal didn't concede a lot of occasions. I think Brighton only had 1 or 2 shots on target. But is this really the football we want to see? Personally, I don't think. But if in the end Arsenal can finally win a league with practicing this football, I think they will forget it instantly.
Well, we all remember Mourinho's dominant Chelsea sides, and they weren't dissimilar. Okay, so take you through some other results throughout the midweek. Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, Everton 2, Burnley 0. That result actually takes Everton to 7th place, which is astonishing. It's 8th place. Apologies, 8th place.
Yeah.
Brentford are 7th, which again is kind of unbelievable season that both Brentford and Everton are having. Leeds United 0, Sunderland 1, a potentially damaging result for Leeds United. Probably their first really disappointing result in a long time. Elsewhere, Fulham 0, West Ham United 1, a huge victory for West Ham as they battle relegation. But that result was not enough to take them out of the relegation zone, because Nottingham Forest managed to get a point at the City ground. Not the City ground, the
Etihad Stadium.
Yeah. Sorry, it's Man City, isn't it? Apologies. Apologies, Forest. So Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Man City led twice. Forest pulled it back on 2 occasions. And there was a last-minute goal line clearance from Nottingham Forest as well. Fantastically earned points, actually, from Nottingham Forest, we have to say. And it kind of came out of nowhere, both goals. Manchester City were dominant. They were fluid. They were creating stuff. And then Nottingham Forest, on 2 occasions, just hit them hard and accurately.
Yeah, as you said, it was a great show of resilience from Nottingham Forest, and a vital point because, of course, West Ham have win in parallel, so that desperately needed that point. But concerning Manchester City, it is a big setback because now they are, even if they have a game in hand compared to Arsenal, they are trailing by 7 points. So I don't think they have their fate in their
No.
score.
So yes, you're absolutely right. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Before dropping points, it was the case that both teams had the title in their hands because it all came down to the result against each other. Elsewhere, really fun game. Newcastle United 2, Manchester United 1. Michael Carrick's first defeat as Man United boss. Newcastle United actually played the second half with 10 men after Jacob Ramsey was showed a second yellow card for diving, even though he didn't appeal for a penalty. But if you haven't seen the winning goal, watch it. It's great fun. A bit chaotic, but good fun. Will Osula with an absolute stonking finish from the edge of the box to win that one. But the last thing we'll talk about from the league, from the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Crystal Palace 3. So this happened on Thursday. And again, interesting game because Palace could have taken the lead through Saar, but they had a goal disallowed through VAR. Dominic Solanke gave Spurs the lead, but less than 5 minutes later, Van de Ven was sent off or shown a straight red for pulling a player back in the box. Saar converted the penalty. This is in the 40th minute, and then within 7 minutes, they scored twice more. Spurs completely capitulate, and that is 3 defeats on the bounce for Igor Tudor. Now, a couple of things, because obviously this is a bit of a stretch, but like Igor Tudor is already under pressure, isn't he? There's already talk about moving him on because there's 3 matches, 3 defeats, and the atmosphere was as toxic as you've ever heard.
Yeah, I saw the images showing the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium being empty during the game at half time. I think the only thing we can say about Tottenham is that they seem to be a team in free fall now, a team that seem to be struggling with everything, and even when they have something positive, because they scored the opener, something comes and ruins their momentum. Now, in that case, it was the Van de Ven's red card, but at home, for a team like Tottenham to have the worst point total in the league alongside with Burnley, it's obviously impossible. They have the worst momentum in the league with 5 defeats in a row. So it's a terrible season for Tottenham, and they are not assured to stay up now because they only have 1 point in advance with West Ham and Forest.
Yeah. With that result, so that means in the last relegation spots, West Ham are on 28 points on goal difference alone, behind Nottingham Forest on 28. And then 1 point ahead of them is Tottenham Hotspur on 29 after 5 straight losses. And then only 2 points ahead of them are Leeds United. And then a massive 6 points ahead of them are Brighton. So it does feel like the relegation battle is set. You have your 4 players, if we accept that Wolves and Burnley are probably down. 4 players involved: West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham Hotspur, and Leeds United, all separated by 3 points with 9 games to go. It's going to be very exciting. And there are several matches involving those teams playing each other. Very exciting. Excuse me. So just a quick recap on the FA Cup this weekend in England. Liverpool got their revenge over Wolves, winning 3-1 at Molyneux. League One, Mansfield Town almost got something against Arsenal, made them struggle to a 2-1 victory. Mansfield, if you don't know, League One, that's the 3rd tier of English football. Championship, Wrexham forced Chelsea into extra time, but Wrexham were the sad recipients of VAR this week, having a man sent off on review and also having an equaliser ruled off for a very narrow offside. Chelsea winning 4-2 after extra time. Newcastle United 1, Manchester City 3. Elsewhere, Fulham lost against Championship opposition Southampton 1-0 at Craven Cottage. Port Vale, also of League One, bottom of the table, I believe, defeating Sunderland 1-0. Port Vale in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, despite the fact they're probably going to get relegated. Leeds United 3, Norwich City 0, and West Ham United 2, Brentford 2. West Ham United winning 5-3 on penalties after Utara Panenka and, well, it did not Panenka, actually. The keeper saved his Panenka in that shootout with Brentford. The quarterfinal lineup, so you know, Man City faced Liverpool. Southampton against Arsenal. Chelsea faced lower league opposition again. They host Port Vale. They really do have the easiest run to the final this year. And West Ham United will play Leeds, which means one of those two teams will be in the semi-final, which is really exciting. One of West Ham and Leeds get to go to Wembley. Very cool. Okay, we're going to leave that there for now. We're going to go over to Italy. Only a little bit of Italian Cup to tell you about. It was the first legs of the semi-finals in the Coppa Italia. On Tuesday, Como faced Inter. I say faced Inter. Neither of them really did anything. They were combined 8 shots and 1 on target between the two of them. Really wasn't much. 0-0. You probably could have guessed that from what I was saying. But on Wednesday, much more fun. Lazio 2, Atalanta 2. Lazio actually led twice, but Atalanta drew it back and actually equalised in the last minute of regulation time. But then we get to the league. Really interesting stuff this week. But first and foremost, we're going to go with the last game on Sunday. AC Milan 1, Inter 0, which that means 2 matches in a row Inter haven't scored. The only goal coming from Estupinian. AC Milan sort of lifting the mood slightly because, of course, even with that victory, they are still 7 points behind Inter. But at least they're keeping them honest, and at least they have bragging rights.
Yeah, because now there are only 7 points behind Inter. And I wanted to take a look at because Milan beat Inter in the first leg in Serie A this season. And when was the last time Milan beat Inter both times in the league? And it was, do you know when? Do you have an idea?
I swear it was only 4 or 5 years ago.
No. In the league, it was in 2010, 2011.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
And that year, Milan won the championship. So I don't know, and I don't really think, to be honest, that they will achieve the same feat this year because of everything we have said in the recent weeks and the gap between the two teams. But it's impressive.
I'll tell you what, though, a very good week for, as well as being a good week for Milan, good week for Napoli. They played on Friday night, beating Torino 2-1. So Napoli are now 4 points behind Milan still, but they are now 5 points ahead of 4th place. So Napoli really solidifying their Champions League place there.
Yeah, it was. We can even say that it was a perfect week for Napoli because first, of course, they won their games against Torino. Then they consolidated their third place, which is of course important for them because we have to recall that they are the title champions, the champions in title, and they welcomed back Kevin De Bruyne and Zombo Anguissa. So
hopefully they can have a good end to the year now they're getting a few bodies back in.
Yeah.
But part of the reason they had such a good week was because their Champions League rivals, the big ones, Roma, a shocking result for them. They lost 2-1 at Genoa. Genoa, who were only 3 points ahead of the relegation zone at the turn of the weekend. But yeah, Genoa 2, Roma 1. Roma really dropping the ball here. And also, that's only 1 win in 4 matches for Roma. So much like Juventus, both teams losing form at the wrong time, which is opening the door for a certain other team.
Yeah, and it's obviously confirms Roma's difficulty when they play away from home. We have already underlined that in the past weeks. Now they haven't won away in 3 games in a row, so it's obviously a bad record for a team aiming to qualify for the Champions League. And yeah, we can draw a parallel between them and Juventus, as you said.
Although Juventus did win 4-0 against Pisa, but it's Pisa, and so 4-0's a Pisa piss. But I was trying to put down, sort of saying like a certain team in 4th place. I was hoping you'd pick that up, but alas, you did not. Como are in 4th place with only, I think it's 11 matches of the season left to go. Como are officially in the Champions League spots. They are ahead of Roma on goal difference and 1 point ahead of Juventus. Como winning 2-1 at Cagliari. So Como 5 points behind Napoli, 5 points ahead of Atalanta in 7th. Como semi-final against Inter, neck and neck. This is Such a good season for them.
Yeah, impressive. The only thing is that they will have to play against major opponents.
I was going to say they do have the toughest run-in, don't they?
Yeah,
of
they
the
will
Champions
play.
League guys.
Yeah, they will play Roma. They will play Inter Milan twice, even because they will play in the Coppa Italia. They will also have to face Napoli, for example. So a tough run, but
another way to say that, though, another way to say that is that it's in their own hands.
Yeah, you're right, and the fact that alongside Juventus they don't have European football to play because Roma will play in the Europa League. It can be an advantage, of course.
Other results to take you through. So we've mentioned Napoli, Como, Atalanta 2, Udinese 2. That was a really fun match. On Sunday, shock of all shocks, Hellas Verona defeating Bologna 2-1 in Bologna. Hellas Verona winning at all is Fiorentina 0, Parma 0. That could be potentially damaging for Fiorentina because their rivals around them all winning. Well, nearly all of them. Like I say, Genoa defeating Roma. But the big one, Lecce 2, Cremonese 1. And in doing so, Lecce leapfrog Cremonese and into safety. So ever since, Leo, I did make a note of this. Ever since you gave them the death knell and said that you thought Lecce were doomed, since then they've won 3 of their 5 matches.
But it's possible for them to be relegated. They are only 3 points ahead of Cremonese. But of course, Cremonese, they have not won in 14 games now, so it's becoming problematic for them.
But much like the Premier League, the relegation battle is very much compressing. Like, it's very clear what you have to do now. So Cremonese on 24 points in 18th, 1 point ahead of them, Fiorentina. 2 points ahead of them are Lecce, and then 3 points ahead of them are Torino, Cagliari, and Genoa, all within 6 points of Cremonese. So again, the table's set. But the big difference is Genoa, Cagliari, Torino, ignore Torino. Genoa and Cagliari have picked up form in recent weeks and are capable of winning. Fiorentina have shown that they're capable of winning. Lecce, of all teams, have shown that they're winning. So it is very much as a certain handsome presenter predicted many moons ago. It's very much Cremonese in freefall because you just don't see when they'll win. But then we said that about Verona and they just won at Bologna.
Yeah. First, credit to a certain presenter. I don't know his name, but he's pretty good. It will be, to be honest, I think it will be really, really complicated for Cremonese, even if they don't have, they only have 1 point less than Fiorentina. It seems really, really difficult for them to stay up.
The other match we didn't mention was Lazio 2, Sassuolo 1. But also, I was going to say, but it's also not irrelevant, but they are very much the mid-table side this season. Although Lazio do have a chance of reaching the Coppa Italia final, which, considering their transfer embargo at the start of the season, would still be an achievement in itself. And another way into Europe for them, actually. Right, let's park Italy there and go off to the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga, no cup action in Germany this week. But weirdly, the first 2 matches are both by Leverkusen. They had their catch-up against Hamburg in midweek, where they won 1-0. A single goal at Hamburg gave them the victory there. But then they were the first match to play on Saturday, which seems a bit strange. Almost unfair. I would have thought that they'd delay that. Anyway, but it told they had a fantastic second game, on Saturday. Freiburg 3, Bayer Leverkusen 3. Great match. Freiburg led twice, then Bayer led before Freiburg gave them a late draw. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich defeated Borussia Mönchengladbach 4-1. Although weird game because Borussia Mönchengladbach actually created more than Bayern Munich, but Bayern scored with every shot on target. Elsewhere on Saturday, Heidenheim 2, Hoffenheim 4, and the other result I'm going to pick out for now: RB Leipzig 2, Augsburg 1. Heartbreak for Augsburg, who conceded an own goal in the second minute of stoppage time to give Leipzig the win. The reason I picked these out. Oh, I should also say Mainz to Stuttgart to. Mainz led for Stuttgart, came back to take the lead, but also conceded in stoppage time. So Stuttgart drawing at lowly Mainz, although their form's picked up. We've got Bayer Leverkusen dropping points at Freiburg, despite winning in midweek, and we have Hoffenheim winning at Heidenheim. In doing so, the reason talking about all this is because we are talking about the Champions League fight. Hoffenheim third, 49. Stuttgart fourth, 47. RB Leipzig with that victory, fifth on 47, level with Stuttgart, and Bayer sixth, 3 points behind on 44. So 5 points separating those four teams, and only 2 spots will go to the Champions League. It's classic Bayer Leverkusen this season, isn't it? The second there's a good performance, there just seems to be an underwhelming one round the corner.
Yeah, maybe we can explain that by the fact they have played 2 games in 3 days, as you mentioned in the introduction. But I have a question, because of course the European race is fun, but what about the relegation battle? Look at that.
No, don't jump ahead. We're coming into that, don't worry.
The main point is maybe that Offenheim, even if they had mixed results in recent weeks, they hold on to their third place, and they are in a good spot to qualify for the Champions League. Sorry.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about that juicy relegation fight. So we should point out that first of all, Wolfsburg 1, Hamburg 2. All 3 goals scored by penalties. This weird, and 3 different penalty takers. Weirdly, in doing so, Wolfsburg are still in the relegation zone. So Heidenheim are on 14 points. Wolfsburg are on 20. But the big difference is they're now 4 points behind 16th. Now, to remind everybody, in the Bundesliga, the bottom 2 sides are automatically relegated, and then there's the relegation playoff against the third best side in the Zwei Bundesliga. So yeah, Wolfsburg are already falling. Like, even if they win their next match, they still will be in the relegation zone. It's getting to the point of the season where this big club, Wolfsburg, they are not only in serious trouble, but they're falling behind.
Yeah, if you remember where Wolfsburg were a few years ago, I think in the start of the 2010, with all those players, they won the Champions League in the championship in 2009, no? So
Wolfsburg, yeah, it's
with Dante and everything.
Yeah, 2008, 2009, something like that.
Yeah,
so, they were the last clubs to win. I think they were one of 2 clubs to win the Bundesliga before Bayern went on the 10 in a row, 11 in a row.
So their free fall is a disaster for them. And you've mentioned all of these teams who can hope to stay up, which is funny to watch, is that one victory can turn everything around. If we take the example of Werder Bremen.
Absolutely. So those of you wondering where Bremen were, which is another really big club in Germany, Bremen were just 2 points ahead of Wolfsburg. But on Sunday, they went to Union Berlin and won 4-1, helped by the fact that, Union Berlin got a red card in the 20th minute. But still, Werder Bremen 4-1 at Berlin, and in doing so, they lifted to 13th place. So there is currently 1 point separating 5 teams for that last relegation playoff. That is incredible.
Yeah, if we take a look at the table, we can even say that there is only 5 points between the 12th and the 17th place. So it's 6 teams in contention for the relegation. So incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
The relegation battles everywhere apart from France is really interesting.
It's maybe the fiercest relegation battle in the Big 5.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Although in some ways it's a shame that it's just a relegation playoff as opposed to relegation itself, because of course that means that when they get to the playoff itself, depending which team, but they would still feel confident about playing, the third best team in the Zweite Bundesliga. But then again, you're rolling the dice, aren't you? You're putting it all on one fixture.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's park Bundesliga there and let's go over to La Liga, and we're going to start with their cup action. Barcelona trailed Atletico Madrid 4-0 going into this match and almost pulled off the comeback of all comebacks. They eventually won 3-0, and so they went out 4-3 in aggregate, but they came close. A couple of goals from Marc Bernal, a Rafinha penalty in there, but they were 3-0 up after 70 minutes. So they did have a good 20 minutes to try and find that fourth goal, but it was just not meant to be. But an enormous amount of credit should be given to Barcelona for actually trying, because many teams would have just sort of thrown that away and accepted defeat, but not them.
And scoring 3 goals against Atletico de Madrid is never easy. So credit to Barcelona and to Flick, because it was a great performance, maybe one of the best of the season so far. So credit to Barcelona, because we maybe forget that they had lost 4-0 in the first leg, and winning 3-0 against Atletico. It's something.
Yeah, absolutely. Elsewhere, Real Sociedad defeated Athletic Club 1-0 again, which matched the result from the first leg, meaning that Real Sociedad win the tie 2-0. A Oyarzabal penalty late on sealed the win, which means that the final will be between Atletico Madrid and the Real Sociedad. That's a fun final. The fact that it does involve the big two.
It changes. Yeah, it changes from Barcelona and Real Madrid.
But also, I mean, obviously, I think the defending winners are actually Athletic Club anyway, aren't they? But also it gives, because Diego Simeone, I don't think has won this title, or if he has, it's been a while. And also any trophy for Real Sociedad, considering the difficulties at the start of the season, both teams, this is an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's also why Antoine Griezmann is set to remain at Atletico.
Was it Orlando City he was in talks?
Yeah, Orlando City want him. Also, I think it's Toronto or Montreal. I don't remember, but I think it's Montreal, and even Inter Miami are aiming for Griezmann, but he wants to stay at Atletico in order to win his last trophy with the club.
So we're going to talk about La Liga now. Midweek, a huge victory for Real Vallecano in their battle of relegation, winning 3-0 against Real Oviedo. Celta Vigo 1, Real Madrid 2. Madrid squeezing a victory, Valverde scoring in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Real Madrid just can't seem to develop any sort of familiarity, or they just seem so clunky. They seem so, it's like they've never played with each other before. Although, are they lacking that creativity since so many of their creative players are injured or absent?
We have to be honest. They have had a lot of injured players and absentees these past weeks. But once again, it's really difficult for them to win, even given the fact that it was a controversial victory, because just before Valverde's second goal, there was an harsh foul on, I think, Fer Lopez from Celta Vigo, which the VAR didn't notice. So it's really difficult for them. But the thing is that they have win, and they are now only 4 points behind Barcelona, which is maybe too big gap between these two clubs.
So the next game we're going to talk about is so again, such an intense, brilliantly watchable relegation battle. Osasuna against Mallorca. Mallorca have slipped into the relegation zone after a really bad run of form, winning 2-0 at Osasuna, who have been excellent in recent weeks. Both teams have had a man sent off. It's the 89th minute. You'd think that Mallorca would therefore see it out, but no. Despite the fact it's the 89th minute, Osasuna come back and draw the game 2-2. So so Mallorca were out of the relegation zone. All they had to do was hold on, but they let it slip, and in doing so, they stay in the relegation zone. They're not going to get better chances than that, are they?
No, they don't. I remember when Osasuna hosted Real Madrid, and I think they beat them.
Yeah.
We have said they are one of the best teams in La Liga at home, and they just confirm it. The only good point for Mallorca is that none of the other clubs, the other teams from the 13th to the 20th spot have won this weekend. So they earned a point, and they are like a big winner in the
Yeah, I see what you mean. They sort of stayed the exact same distance away from them, but they didn't. But they had the opportunity to gain, and not only gain, they had the opportunity to leapfrog some.
Yeah.
Although I should point out, Rayo Vallecano did win in midweek, so they did pull away. For those of you interested, we'll give you some other results. Levante won, Girona won. Another red card. Levante winning until they got a man sent off with half an hour to go, and Girona equalised in the 4th minute stoppage time. Atletico Madrid versus Real Sociedad. This was a fun one.
A preview.
A preview of the final, but obviously both of them were a bit knackered from midweek. But Atletico Madrid winning 3-2. They led once, Real Sociedad got it back. They led again, and they equalised. But Nico Gonzalez's second goal, the victory. Fun match, eh?
Fun match and important one because with the victory of Atletico and Villarreal's, and the defeat of Real Betis and Celta Vigo, I think we know who the 4 top teams in the league will be. The only question now is to know who will be the first, the league winner, and the third on the podium. So here are
although
what at stakes.
Not forgetting that 5th place will almost certainly be an extra place for the Champions League, which will be really interesting. Celta Vigo trying to refine form, Espanyol in free fall, Sociedad Athletic Club rebuilding. Yeah, that one's up for grabs. That'd be fun. Very, very fun. Athletic Club 0, Barcelona 1. Lamine Yamal's 8th goal involvement in 7 matches. I was about to say he's in the form of his life, but he's only 18.
He's in the form of his youth life, maybe. But yeah, he's absolutely he's a genius, of course. He has now scored 19 goals and provided 15 assists this season. He's the youngest player in the 21st century to score 50 professional goals. So it's quicker than Lionel Messi, it's quicker than Ronaldo, it's quicker than Cristiano Ronaldo, it's quicker than...
Yeah, we should point out, for anybody who doesn't know, like that's a good 2 years ahead of Messi. From the point Messi got to there.
And he's playing in La Liga. He's not playing in I don't know, minor.
But isn't that the risk though? Because it was made. I was listening to a podcast recently, and they made the very good point that Leo Messi was allowed the space because obviously when he was coming through, there was Ronaldinho, for example. So Messi was allowed to have a couple of bad games. He was allowed to have the spotlight not on him, whereas Lamine Yamal hasn't had that. So is the worry that much like a lot of other Barcelona players, too much use equals significant injury at a very young age, but also the pressure of this is kind of all on you. You don't get a break. You have to be it.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But isn't it the fate of the genius? Because when Mbappe came through at Monaco, it was the same thing.
Yeah, but that was beautifully put. yeah. What was that? Fate? Isn't that the fate of genius? Yes, the burden of genius.
But I think every genius in football or in life have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. So it's the price to pay to be that kind of people.
Mm. Yes, I know what you mean. Elsewhere in La Liga on Sunday, Villarreal defeated Elche 2-1. A huge result. Getafe defeating Real Betis 2-0, which means that Getafe are safe. We could say that they're not in the relegation battle anymore.
Yeah, they are.
Safe. And or genuinely, they could still get into Europe, which is insane. Sevilla 1, Rayo Vallecano 1. Oh, what a match in Valencia. Valencia 3, Alaves 2. Alaves were winning 2-1 going into the 90th minute. Again, Alaves, who are only 2 points ahead of Mallorca now in the relegation battle. Valencia at the time were only 3, I believe. Yes, Alaves 2-1 up against Valencia 90th minutes. Then Comber equalised 2-2. Last minute of stoppage of regulation time. And then Valencia win a penalty deep into stoppage time. Alaves have 2 different players sent off for second yellow cards. And then in the 9th minute of stoppage time, after all that wait, Hugo Duro scored his penalty to give Valencia the win. And again, we could probably say, I think Valencia are safe.
Yeah, finally, because it wasn't the case by the end of 2025. But they will certainly stay up because they had a very good start to 2026. They have won 5 games in 10 La Liga games. They have won almost half of their points since the start of the year. So, yeah, I think we can say they will stay up.
Yeah,
Because
hell of an
7
effort.
points. Yeah, they have 7. They are 7 points up compared to Mallorca. So I think it will be okay for them.
No, obviously, very different situation, but like to say Tottenham Hotspur, but there's such a pressure being at such a big club, being that far down the table. Almost people are almost willing for you to fail. But I think there's an element of sympathy with Valencia, considering the difficulties with the owner and the stadium and so on and so on.
But question: do Valencia are a bigger club than Tottenham? Because
well, I think I think you have to say on paper, if financially, no, absolutely not.
No, of course not.
But as a club, you have to say, well, it's got a bit more, say, prestige about it, historically at least, because the fact that they won the title twice, like 2001, 2003, around there, under Rafa Benitez. They were. It was them, Real Madrid and Barcelona. They were the big dogs at the time.
Yeah.
But like Tottenham Hotspur haven't had that.
Yeah, and the Champions League also they went in the
final. They got to the
final.
final.
Final in the Champions League. They did something.
I'm trying to remember who they lost to. Yeah, but they did make it to a final.
Yeah.
But yeah,
in 2001, I think, with David Villa.
Oh, that was a good team. That really was a fun team. Anyway, sorry. Getting nostalgic, guys, for the beginning of the 21st century.
That was the only the question of the
thing. Speaking of which, sorry, slight tangent, but considering we're talking about early 21st century La Liga, it completely slipped my memory that Atletico Madrid were relegated. Do you remember this?
I don't. Maybe I was just a little kid.
It was like 2003, 2004, something like that. But yeah, I have no memory of it. But this is like when I was really getting into football, and I thought I was. But yeah, I have no memory of this.
I was 4, so I don't remember that.
We're moving on. Anyway, going to Liga now. Well, actually, speaking of cup competitions, this was a really fun set. So it was the quarterfinal of the French Cup. Yeah. Strasbourg defeated Rennes 2-1. So Strasbourg are through to the semi-final. On Wednesday, Lorient and Nice drew 0-0. Lorient holding on for half the game with 10 men. But Nice won on the penalties 6-5. Elsewhere, Marseille and Toulouse drew 2-2. It's always satisfying to draw 2-2 against Toulouse. It's just to say, anyway. But Toulouse won. So Marseille led twice in that game, but eventually Toulouse won on penalties 4-3. So Toulouse are through to the semi-final. And final one, or rather the last of the quarterfinals, Lyon to Lens. Lens actually led 2-0 at half-time before Masuaku was sent off with half an hour to go. Lyon equalised in the last minute of stoppage time, but that also went to penalties, and Lens prevailed. Do we have the draw for the semi-finals?
Yeah, Lens will host Toulouse at Bollert, and Strasbourg will host what the
Nice.
last this
Yeah.
the other semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, I said to you, if Nice end up winning the cup, then we just all have to stop because it's the equivalent of when Spurs won the Europa League last year. Like, no, the system's broken. No.
Yeah.
What is very exciting though is, first of all, Lens. We're going to get to it, but Lens are still in the title race. They could still win the title, but even if not, then winning the cup is still this huge achievement. But also, Strasbourg had a bit of an underwhelming week, let's say, and probably European, well, certainly Champions League qualification is beyond them. They're 10 points behind now. Them being back in Europe is at real risk. So actually, Strasbourg, them winning the cup is not only a massive achievement for the club, for that many of which just talk about as Chelsea's feeder team, which, you know, they are. Or at least they've been treated that way by Chelsea. But this would be an amazing statement about, like, this club still exists. This is still a club. This is still for the fans, and this is a huge achievement and something to be celebrated.
I agree, and we need to think that Strasbourg are still in the Conference League, and I think they have whatever it takes to go all the way to the final and maybe the title. So it could be another way to qualify for European football next season.
It's a very good point. Yeah, but perhaps we'll see Strasbourg sort of rotating more in the league to prioritise the cup competitions. Yeah. But yes, I mean, not to say that obviously Toulouse and Nice is not an opportunity for them, but Lens and Strasbourg being heavy favourites as well. Yeah. Is it home ties in the semi-final?
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to those ones. But in the league, like you said, Lens is still in the title race because on Friday night, Paris Saint-Germain hosted Monaco, the fourth meeting between them this season. And Paris Saint-Germain lost 3-1 in Paris. Goals from, first of all, the fact that Monaco won for the second time against Paris Saint-Germain. When's the last time Monaco won the league double against them?
Sorry, I don't have this information.
So you and I were talking during the week that, first of all, in all four matches, Monaco have been so impressive, considering how bad their season's been, generally speaking. They've been so impressive in every single match against Paris Saint-Germain. And the two matches they've won have been the two ties that they actually had all 11 players on the pitch.
Yeah, and which is quite relevant is that because Monaco and Paris Saint-Germain played 4 times this season, and on each game, Monaco scored the opener. So it says a lot of how they started their games. And this came as no surprise, given the performances of both teams in each of these games. And I'm pretty sure, I can't be sure, but I'm maybe 90% sure that if Monaco had played with 11 men against 11 in the Champions League, the result could have been different, or maybe the gap thinner.
Well, it's hard to argue against that, considering the 2 league matches were won by Monaco. You know?
Yeah. And they were winning 2-0 in the first leg in the Champions League.
That's true. 2-1 in the second leg.
Yeah. Also, so.
What could have been. But Monaco have really turned their season around, and they still have a chance for European football. We'll get into that in just a second. Elsewhere, on Saturday, Nantes lost at home 1-0 against Angers. Strasbourg mentioned the disappointing league result, drawing 0-0 at Auxerre. Really underwhelming result there, but probably a bit tired from the midweek. And Toulouse lost at home against Marseille. Mason Green with the only goal. So Marseille, they seem to have righted the ship a little bit. Even though they lost midweek against Toulouse, they did lead twice. They probably should have won the game. That's a big missed opportunity for Marseille in the cup. But what they do have now is all in on the league.
Yeah, you're right. And by winning at Toulouse, they took back their place in the
They're now
on the
third
podium.
ahead of Lyon.
Yeah, they are now
Spoiler
first
alert!
because
Spoiler alert! Lyon did not win.
yeah, that's why, and it is really important for them to finish in the top three. It would be dramatic for the club to have been knocked out, especially that way in the Champions League, then in the Coupe de France, and to be out of the Champions League spots at the end of the season, given all the players they have bought or loaned this season.
So again, I'm just going to read the rest of the results just to give people some context. So Lens defeated Metz 3-0 to move just within 1 point of Paris Saint-Germain again. Le Havre went to Brest and were undone by a pair, so 2-0 to Brest. Lille and Lorient drew 1-1, late equalised for Lorient. Nice lost at home 4-0 against Rennes. And Lyon drew 1-1 against Paris FC, and it needed a penalty in the last minute of stoppage time to salvage a draw. So in doing so, Marseille 46 in third, Lyon on 46th, Rennes on 43 after 4 wins in a row, Lille on 41, Monaco on 40, so 6 points separating 5 sides and 2 Champions League places. Well, 1 Champions League place and 1 playoff for the Champions League. It's been, I suppose my first question is, it's been a disappointing week for Lyon, a very disappointing week for Lyon. Are you concerned that after their 13 wins in a row, the bubble has burst, or is this just a blip and they can go again? And my second question is, who of the teams below you are you most worried by? Because Rennes have won 4 in a row and they're immediately beneath you. Lille's form has stuttered a bit. Monaco have won 5 of their last 6. They're undefeated in 7, and they are 6 points behind you. So yeah, 2 questions. Are you concerned as a Lyon fan about your form? And the second one is, who are you most concerned by?
First, to answer your first question, I'm concerned because we have talked about it a lot these past weeks. But they have a lot of injured players, especially on the offensive aspect. They are now playing for weeks without Ernest Nuama, Malik Fofana, Afonso Moreira, the best assist provider of the team, without Pavel Such. They play with Rémi Humbert, who is only 18, a graduate from the academy. They put in Abdani, who is also a graduate from the academy, is only 16. So they don't have any options. The players are tired against Paris FC. Hendrik, Corentin Tolisso, Noah Narte were all on the bench, Yaremchuk too. So the thing is that with the Europa League, it will be really complicated without the return of some players. And to answer your second question, I think at the moment, Rennes and Monaco are the most informed teams to be able to compete with them.
Well, it's going to be close, and like you see, the fact that Lyon have European football, although don't Rennes have European football? Are they in?
No,
it's Strasbourg.
No, they don't. Yeah, Strasbourg.
So Lyon do have the burden of European football, but that's genius for you. Yes, okay, nothing to report at the bottom end. We still got the same bottom 3, and Nice is still terrible. Yeah. Right, so we're gonna leave the leagues there and nip on to the last bits of the show. So the 3 things we may have missed this week. What would you like to contribute?
I do have 2 things you may have missed. First, it's in China, because the 2026 Super Leagues had kicked off this week, and it's quite strange because 9 of the 16 teams of the league they started their campaign with negative points due to to offensive related to match fixing, betting, and corruption. So
Oh, that's a good one. Well
that,
done. Good spot.
that's a good league to watch. What do you
Yeah,
have?
that's a very strange relegation
Yeah,
fight.
that is.
Apart from the funny Tottenham Hotspur ones, such as the fact that Wolverhampton Wanderers have won the same number of home matches in a week as. Have you
Oh,
hosted?
sorry,
Did
it's
you
okay.
mute me?
Yeah, I did. So sorry. I
Sorry.
wanted to do.
The vengeance of Spurs. Oh, you muted me. There's vengeance of Spurs fans were on me.
Sorry.
There's also this one, the one you sent me earlier, the fact that Spurs have only won 10 points at home this season, and there's only one team that have won fewer, and it's Sheffield Wednesday, who, if you've not read about them, are in horrific financial situation, and they are going to be, and they've already been relegated, and so on and so on. Really heartbreaking for that club. And yet they are not the sixth richest club in the world, or I think it's sixth, seventh, something like that for Tottenham Hotspur. But yes, something else you may have missed. Today, Carl Walker has just announced his international retirement. Obviously, probably not figuring in England's future plans anyway, but just a moment to reflect that, obviously, at the last World Cup, he had Kylian Mbappe in his pocket. Despite that, and France still won. But also, that was a real moment for Carl Walker of like, oh, that's how good he is.
Yeah, he was, and he is a great fullback. I've always liked him. Great player. Remember his seasons at Manchester City. Really speed. Really as attacking as defending player. Really great one.
And obviously Spurs play when they were good. Elsewhere, actually, there is something else you may have missed, and I'm just gonna. This was also so. For those of you who remember Joey Barton, for whatever reason,
the
former Marseille manager, amongst many things. Today it was announced. Not today, sorry. This week, it was announced that he's lost his case against former England striker Eni Aluko. Who he was defamed and insulted on social media posts on X, I believe. Anyway, she sued him for libel and she's won. And he has to pay her £300,000 in damages and legal costs. And also, that's the same week that it was announced that he's being charged with assault at a golf course.
A good week for him.
Yeah. So, I was going to say, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah.
What was your other one?
I have one final thing. I don't know if you take a look at Brazilian football, but this week it was the Campeonato Mineiro final, and the game between Cruzeiro and Atletico. There was a huge brawl that leads to 23 straight red cards at the end of the game. So
it was horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Don't get me wrong. If anyone watching this, if you want to find the footage, it's a laugh. It's chaos. It's so bad, but it was also quite funny. Okay, trivial trivia.
That's your time.
All right. Okay, I'll give you an easy one, an easier one. Okay, nice and simple. Across all the major European leagues, which football club has played the most matches?
This season?
This season.
Including the Club World Cup or not?
That's not this season.
Okay. I think it should be in the championship, because
top flight. Come on, top flight, man.
Top flight. Sorry. Chelsea, no.
No, even with the Club World Cup matches, no.
Okay.
It depends. Again, depends when you draw the line of this season, that season, but no.
Yeah. Atletico have played a lot.
Atletico are the most for a Spanish side on 43. They played the most, and they are the highest non-English team on 43. They played 43 matches this season.
Okay, so and the first is in England then. Arsenal. How many?
They are second on 46.
I think a Champions. No, Liverpool. No, it's not Liverpool. I don't know, but you will.
It's
Manchester
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Okay.
So the reason being is because they went into the Champions League playoffs. So that's an extra 2 matches, and they also
Yeah,
got
I
through
forgot
to
that.
the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and they got through to the most recent round of the FA Cup, where they've just lost. So Newcastle United, I think I haven't had a spare midweek since November, and
They will play Barcelona tonight.
And they're playing Barcelona tonight and next week. So yeah, another couple of weeks left. Yeah, so that was a little one. But before you go, here's a fun one. This season, which team? Well, it's in England. I'll give you that. Which team has benefited more than any other side in regarding red cards? So the other team having a red card. Which team has benefited more than any others in England?
I know Manchester United conceded a lot of red cards. Oh, Chelsea too. But
not for them. So like not the team that has the most reds.
Oh yeah, I
like,
get the but I could
well,
go with.
You said it. Manchester United. You said Manchester United. I'll give it to you. They've faced teams 5 times. In 20 months. That's 1 red card every 6 matches. But this is the really astonishing bit. Michael Carrick has been in charge for 8 matches. How many has he had, like, to benefit from?
3.
3 red cards in 8 matches. So suddenly the whole thing of like, oh, Manchester United's good form and Michael Carrick's a genius and all of that. And suddenly it's like, oh yeah, like nearly 50% of their matches have been against 10 men.
That's impressive.
So, having said that, they did just lose a match against 10 men.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the end of our show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching as ever. Make sure you go on our social medias. You might even find Joey Barson on one of them if you really want to see what he's up to. But yes, hopefully you'll join us again. Thank you so much, Leo, as ever.
Thank you, Daniel, for having been here tonight with us. Thanks to everyone who have watched this show. Do not hesitate to subscribe, hit the bell, and like us.
Yes, and if you'll excuse us, we need to sort of remove this burden of genius and have a rest. So we'll see everybody next week. It's going to be a fun week. Lots of Champions League midweeks. Make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be lots good. And we'll be back for the European Soccer Show next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.